Yes, guys, we are back with another market recap, and like the other days, I did not take any trades because the market conditions just weren't great. There was too much chop for me, and I didn't fancy it. But I think it's good to do a recap just for the reasons that the circumstances are different. Donald Trump was speaking at 11 o'clock, so a lot of the price action before that was just really poor, so it's good to know when to avoid trading like today. Let me bring up the charts. So as you can see, the last few days, we're very much in a buy program, so the last few days have been pretty bullish, to be honest. It's kind of slowly, gradually climbed up, with the majority of the moves happening outside of the New York session, so that's not been great for us. Today, I did kind of fancy us retracing into this end dog here, which was left open from the previous day, and again, tap into this daily breaker, which we just broke structure on the daily, so I wanted to see that to be tapped into. But today really was just a period of accumulation, and you can see quite here the market was very overexpanded, so it was due a retracement or period of accumulation. So you can see here we had that probably from Wednesday PM session onwards throughout the Asian session going into the London session, but what happened is we failed to manipulate above the midnight new day price, and that is always a target point for the market if it's not done it, especially on these accumulation type days where you can expect this choppy price action. That will always be referred back to, especially if it's not been manipulated or surpassed in any way, and which it hasn't there. You can see quite clearly where the market opened up and it hadn't been surpassed. So that was why it was a target, and that's probably why these lows never got taken. I was kind of thinking, okay, we got this accumulation phase here. We don't have to go to midnight price, but we could just take the data high here and then go lower towards the end dog. But that wasn't the case. That was a stronger draw today, which to me just shows that today was a period of accumulation or, very choppy price action, and that we are very much in a buy program, because if we weren't, we would gravitate towards that end dog very quickly, but we didn't. So I could see us potentially dipping lower going into tomorrow, fill this FEG here before going higher again, so I'll be looking out for that. We could potentially retrace lower because I see this here as the swing projection there, so I'll be looking at, can we get a fib retracement from that high to equilibrium, and I see that as where the end dog is, so that's why I like that today. But moving on to any entries you could have taken, so for me, all of this is garbage price action. You don't want to be involved in that, and as you can see on the 5 minute, it didn't provide any change of the state and delivery of sort. You could potentially argue that, but I wouldn't say that's clean necessarily. There's not a strong closure beneath it. It was very large wicks, so I don't like that. I don't like to see that. So that is when, if you're ever tempted in trading this or tempted to trade it, just look at the 5 minute chart, and then you can quite clearly see, okay, have we got a change in the state of delivery? Have we taken liquidity? If the answer is no and no, which it was, as you can see, no liquidity here. Equally the other way, we hadn't taken any liquidity there. No change in structure at all. No change in the state of delivery. So you missed that out. So you can probably imagine whichever side of the range we were to break out of would be the one where we would attack. These were protected, these lows there. So we'll attack him the midnight price. Bearing that in mind, you wanted to frame a trade post Donald Trump, which would have been about there. Because he spoke at 11 o'clock, you want to be looking to execute post 11, targeting that midnight price. Can you find any opportunities there? Very limited, really. The only one that I would have taken would have been this one there off the inversion. That entry there, and then I would have targeted the midnight price there, but it's easier said than done, and it wasn't within a macro period, but it was after high impact news, so that's what makes that trade worthwhile in my opinion. And then obviously put your stop there, and I would have put it 50% of this order block there. That was the trade I would have probably taken if I was paying attention, but I'd shut off the charts by that point. There was no point. I didn't like how the market was reacting, and it still wasn't going to be a great move. And then we kind of retraced back into this range here, attacked it again, and it was very... You can definitely see moves there, but can you anticipate the market coming back into this region and then just shooting higher? Probably couldn't. I wouldn't expect it to. I'd probably just leave that one out, as it's not really that clear to me. From a 5 minute perspective, you'd think it would attack these lows, but it wouldn't. It just shoots back up. So it's very hard to predict and determine the short-term draw, and I'm not very good during these type of conditions, so that is why I will not trade it. That is the end of the review. Very short and brief, but like I said, it's good to make note of these type of days, these type of conditions where you're expecting the price action to be choppy during that silver bullet period, and it was because Donald Trump's speaking at 11 o'clock. So you bear that in mind. You have a trade post that, or you don't trade at all. And yeah, you can see from the chart, the conditions just weren't there. So yeah, that's the end of the review. Cheers for listening, and catch you in the next one.